there, lovely listeners, and welcome back to Reasons to Care, the podcast all about heartwarming stories and making a difference with diverse abilities, Dorset's disability charity. I'm Claire, one of the managers in our children's team.
And I'm Michelle, the Deputy Manager in Supported Living. This month, we have two guests with us. We've got Amy Savill, who is lead nurse at Langside School, and Hollie Adams, who is the senior nurse at The Beehive.
I'm really looking forward to chatting to these two. Nursing is such an important part of what we do at Diverse Abilities, and it's something that we have to fundraise for to be able to provide.
I think we're going to learn a lot about how much they get up to during this episode. And of course, if you're inspired about working in care, listening to the podcast, don't forget you can check out our career vacancies online at any time at diverseabilities.org.uk/careers.
Thank you both for joining us today. So I guess we need to start by finding out, how did you come across Diverse Abilities? Say, Amy, if you want to start.
Thanks for having us, Claire. I moved to Dorset about 10 years ago. I've always worked within the learning disability field as a nurse because I'm a learning disabilities nurse. Moved to the area and wanted to work with children again. Worked in mainstream school nursing when I came across the nurse who was working over at Linwood School at the time, and she explained that she worked for Diverse Abilities. Shortly after, a post became available to work at Langside School and Linwood School, so combining both of my passions of working with children with PMLD and doing a more wider liaison facilitation role. And I was lucky enough to get the role. So that's how I came to Diverse Abilities.
Amazing. How about you, Hollie? How did you find out about us?
So I used to work for another local school that support children with learning disabilities, and we looked after some children that attended this school within our children's home, and that's how I found out about you guys and kind of was asked if I'd like to come for an interview, and I accepted.
Amazing.
So how long have you both worked for the charity?
So I've been working for the charity for 7 years now.
Yeah, and 8 years.
Oh, long time.
Yeah.
Heading towards our lifer status.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess it would also be really interesting for us and for our listeners to find out what your roles involve and if there is a typical day or if, like in our roles, no one day is the same. So Amy, do you want to describe your what do you do on a daily basis?
So we have the same saying, it's a Langside day. So who knows? I mean, there are some things that happen every day. So my role is to ensure that the nurses and the nursing assistants are trained and prepped, ready to support the children throughout their day to access their education. So that's making sure that children are fed via their enteral methods, that the staff trained to do that they receive all their medications on time, again, so that they can access their education in a way that doesn't interrupt their school day, so we can facilitate that access, as well as everything else in between that happens with the children that we support. So typically there is a daily routine, but on top of that, I support and lead the team to respond to the emergencies that arise with the medical conditions that the children have.
I was about to say, I bet there are lots of emergencies that pop up
It's
as well.
very busy. So yeah, we have a walkie-talkie system and we delegate a certain part of the school to one nurse and a certain part of school to another nurse. But we respond on a whole to emergencies. And they can vary from seizures to respiratory kind of episodes, other complex muscle conditions that we need to deal with, as well as children being children.
How about you, Hollie? What does your day look like?
So again, no day at the Beehive is the same. You never know. You can have a plan in place and that plan can completely go out the window. Like Amy said, we've got routines that happen, things that need to happen on a day-to-day basis. But I'm there to support both my 2 HCAs and the support staff that support the individuals who attend the Beehive to access the community, having all their health needs met. So whether that's physio and having their medications given, being fed enterally, being able to go out and access the community and having all their medical needs met.
So how many Hollie do you have on site that you're kind of responsible for in terms of people that you support?
Again, every day is a bit different. We have different people with different support needs that attend, but we can have kind of about 25 to 30 individuals attending daily. And each of those have either a one-to-one, and then we have a group of people that attend the day centre who are non-one-to-ones, but they will have a staff member that oversees them. But yeah, roughly every day is a bit different.
How about you, Amy? How many children have you got at Langside?
Currently got 32 on
Wow.
roll here. One's accessing remotely, but has managed to make it in a little bit this term, and that's purely because of the extent of their medical needs.
Yeah.
It hasn't allowed them to access the school. So we are full, and we do have children waiting to join us. So yeah, and we're from the age of 2 to 19.
Perfect.
So I can imagine both settings are busy, but what would you say, Amy, you really enjoy about your job?
The children, I'm in such a privileged position to come into school every day and support the young people that attend school and support the staff, enabling them to meet the children's needs. Developing those long-term relationships with the children is fantastic. So I've been here a little while now, so I'm starting to see the children that I met that I would sit with on the floor who are now bigger than me. So I think the longevity of developing a therapeutic relationship and really getting to know the children and their families and what they need to be able to access education is definitely the best part of what I get to come and do.
Seeing that growth as well,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
must be amazing to see.
Yeah, and I think what's so important to remember is with the students that we support here, we're not always looking for progression. Of course, we aim for it, but actually maintenance for some of the people we support is progression because they're maintaining those skills. And actually that's so important. And we do, with the complexities of the children that we support and the young people, sometimes there isn't growth and sometimes there is regression. And again, it's about looking at how we can maintain as much as we can. And if a child's needs change, which they very often do due to their medical conditions, we then need to look at adapting. How are we going to enable this young person to still do what they enjoy, have their needs met? And we do that holistically as a school. And we're so privileged to work alongside the OT, the physio, speech and language therapists, the teachers, the learning supports assistants, all the therapy and nursing assistants. It's a very holistic approach on keeping that child, the child in the centre to make sure that they can access what they need.
Because I'm right in saying you have that on site.
We do, yes. We're very lucky.
And for yourself, Hollie?
So I think the most thing I love the most is when I get to spend one-to-one time with some individuals, see them achieve things that they've come in or joined us not being able to do or not participating in activities, either due to their medical needs, taking up a lot more time and not being able to participate in activities, but just seeing those smiles, them being able to join in and have all their medical needs met, but be part of the activities we do at the Beehive, for example, Zumba. We've had some amazing drama they've done this year, making the costumes and props and things and being involved. And we had some that came and they were like, no, I'm not joining in. And then actually being able to see them progress and being part of that. I love watching them grow and develop and also become independent adults to access the community.
And sort of maintain that friendship.
Maintain that friendship. And, everybody knows if somebody's not there for the day, they're like, oh, where's so-and-so? And so we are kind of like a big family at the Beehive.
I just want to touch on something that Amy said, and it brought me back to some of our first podcast recordings that we've done and actually some that have since. And twice in your last sort of conversation, you said the word privileged. And as soon as you said it, I got really goosebumpy because I thought it's something that we say all of the time in our positions. We feel so privileged to do what we do. And it just really touched me to hear that actually there's lots of other people out there within the organisation and probably just within the care industry that feel exactly the same, of being in a really privileged position to support these young people or adults, with disabilities. And that's really lovely to hear.
It is just, like you say, it echoes throughout all the sessions that we've done.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing is that when you're sending your child to school, if you've had children, that first day, going to nursery and then going on to school where you don't have that same level of input anymore, and you're not going to get that full diary of what they had for breakfast, what they had for snack, what activities they've done, etc. That day-to-day breakdown. But with the typically developing children, there'll be some ability into giving a response, a verbal kind of relay of what's happened. The young children that come to our school are not able to do that in that same way. And the parents need to trust us so much to be able to allow their young people to come to school, not only just to be able to understand their communication, but to be able to meet their medical needs, which are very high. The majority of the students here, when they go into hospital because they're unwell, they go straight to HDU
Yeah.
because they need that level of one-to-one support. So that shows you the level of medical needs that these young people have.
And I think it's something that we've maybe talked about before, or I know certainly I talk about to some of my parents, is that when you have a typically developing child and they go to school, you're used to getting that face-to-face contact with a teacher at the school gates, or you can grab the TA afterwards and you feel included within that community, I guess, that school community. But when you have a child who may come to Langside, they may well come on school transport. So you are so far removed from that school gate pickup. So you don't get to see who the nurse is. So you might not even know what they look like. You might not know their teacher quite as well. You certainly don't know other parents. So like you say, putting your trust into these professionals that are looking after your child, that's a real massive ask of a parent. And I think that's why it's so important that we have the skilled professionals such as yourselves in these positions, within the Beehive, within Langside, to just give parents or carers that little bit of reassurance that actually my child's in a really safe place and I can slowly start to let go of them.
Yeah.
And you see that. So when we do the transition meetings, I attend them as a supported living sort of deputy to sort of say the next steps. And I always hear, but I know everybody at Langside, and it's happened. So, this has happened amazing at Langside, and that almost that, how's it going to work in adulthood for them? So you have that for children, but then you have that for the adults going on to their next stages. And yeah, I definitely empathize, I think, with families in general.
Yeah. And I think because of, as you've said, these young people, or even Hollie, the adults that you support within Beehive, they typically have quite high medical needs. And therefore, when something can go wrong, or if they get unwell, or if they were to have, a seizure or something, the outcomes could be far more drastic, I guess. And so it must be reassuring for parents to know that, okay, they have this condition, this might be the outcome, but here is someone that's going to be on site, on hand within minutes, if even that, seconds. I see you've got your trainers on.
Absolutely.
To be able to get there and to support.
Yeah. And I think what's really important is that transition into school is so important. Like you're saying, you don't see people on the school gates and things like that. But what generally happens is a young person will be given a show round by the principal. And during that show round, just come to look at who we are, they meet lots of different people. So they get a kind of a feel for us as a school. Other students go to like the Caterpillar Club. So they'll come into a club, which is a specific toddler club aimed for children sort of with complex medical needs. It doesn't have to be complex medical needs, but generally they're the children that come along. And then they kind of get to see that, they kind of see the school from that perspective, and then it kind of grows out. But if a child is enrolled in school, parents are encouraged to come to be with their child for as long as they feel they need to. And we can do very baby steps. Some students haven't started till they're maybe 8 or 9 because they haven't been able to access education before then. So it may be actually they're just going to come in for an hour and the parent will stay. And the next time they come for an hour and a half, the parent might go to the other side of the room. And we can really do this phased transition. Other parents, they've been to Caterpillar Club, they really know what we do.
Off you go.
And I think what we do really well here at Langside is personalise it to the student and to the family. And we have very open communication with our parents and saying, okay, when this happens, what does that look like? What would you like us to do? This is what we're thinking, etc. So I think we have that really close working relationship with our families.
And Hollie, how about you because obviously some of the people you support at the Beehive may be in supported living, and some of those people that you support may still be at home with carers. What's your relationship like with those families? And do they echo the same, that they're really grateful that you're on site to know that if something goes wrong, there's almost a safety net to catch them? Is that something that's echoed within adults as well?
Yes, I think that is echoed with us. We've recently done a questionnaire and sent out kind of asking them what they thought about them. One of the questions was, what do you think of the nursing provider at the Beehive? And a lot of those answers were very positive. And excellent, brilliant. I know that my daughter's needs being met. I'm grateful that there's someone there that can do something if something goes wrong. So I do feel we have a very, very good working relationship, both with myself and the management at the Beehive, with the parents, carers, and we do have lots of people who live in like supported living or residential services. So we try and keep that really positive communication back and forth, whether that's through home diaries or emails or phone calls. We always communicate to make sure those needs of the people we support are being met all the time.
I think now would be a really great time to let our listeners know. You've obviously heard from Amy and Hollie how important it is for nursing staff to be within services. And we have a campaign currently running called Fund a Nurse, where it's £175 to pay for a nurse for a day, or you can set up a monthly direct debit of about £14 a month. All the details can be found on our website, diversabilities.org.uk/nurses. There's also a video on there from Amy talking about how important it is for nursing staff to be within service. So if you're listening and interested in supporting the campaign, please do go and check it out on our website.
So obviously, Amy and Hollie, we've talked a lot about nurses and having the importance of nurses in your setting. I mean, I know myself working at the Beehive how important it was to have a nurse there. But what do you feel it would mean if there was no nursing in these settings?
At the Beehive, if there wasn't a nurse on site, it would mean that some of our young people wouldn't be able to progress from Langside to come to us or other settings, because there is no other day centre within Dorset that has a nurse on site. So they're not able to meet the high medical needs that some of our people have. So it might mean that they have to stay at home with parents once they age out of school or college, and we're able to provide that continuous care for them. Whether they've attended Langside or other settings, we're able to do that transition of them coming. We're able to meet those needs, whether we need to upskill ourselves and get more training. We are prepared to do that. And we've had quite a group recently. We had quite a lot of more complex medical individuals join us last September, and to see their growth has just been amazing to watch. I left a minute ago and literally just left to the sound of laughing and giggling because of the bonds that they've built with the staff. So they've built great relationships, but also having their medical needs met, which isn't possible in other settings, unfortunately.
And I think something that working in children's services, I've been saying for a really long time, it feels like forever, like adult services need to get ready, because historically children who were born with quite profound and multiple disabilities with complex health needs weren't making it to adulthood. But we've seen a real shift in the last, 20 plus years of children actually medical interventions, knowledge and experience, and having people like you in services are enabling children to make it to adulthood. So something I've been saying for a long time is adult services need to get ready, because the children are coming and they need to get ready. And it feels like this last few years, we've actually seen that happen, because there's been young people that have been at Langside that I would never have envisaged going to the Beehive. But now there's nursing staff there and skills, and you're equipped and ready for it. And for me, that just feels amazing, because it feels like we're actually doing it. We are now seeing children from joining Langside at 2 right the way through our services, because that's the dream, isn't it?
Exactly.
That is exactly the dream. And it feels like sometimes, because of the complexities of these young people, they haven't quite been able to make that transition, whereas now it feels like they have. And I'm just so pleased that that's been able to happen, because I think as a parent, how wonderful that you trusted Diverse Abilities with your child for maybe 17 years, and the thought of that ending must feel huge.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't have to end. Now it can continue. So yeah, hats off to you guys, because it's what's needed to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And Amy, for you at Langside, if there was no nursing staff, how would that?
There isn't a service out there that does what we do. We are completely unique with the level of complex needs children we have all in one area and in one school setting. So the sad reality is that they wouldn't be able to access school.
That's what I was about to say.
They wouldn't come to
school?
school. So, or you may have a setting that says you can come with your parent and do a certain amount of sessions or something, but that the responsibility, the accountability of handing over your child to school, if you've got the level of needs that we support here at Langside, if nurses weren't here, the school wouldn't exist.
It's crazy, isn't it, to think?
Yeah. And I think we know that. We absolutely know that. We see it, we feel it. But I think for maybe some of our listeners who don't understand or don't have contact with a child who may come to Langside, I think that for them will probably be really shocking.
It's not just about nursing. So what we offer at Langside is that comprehensive, holistic approach. If you're in school and you don't necessarily see us nursing team, then we're doing it right. Because what we're trying to do is fly under the radar.
Yeah.
We're trying to meet the children's needs. We're trying to upskill staff. So the people that know the children really well are able to do specific interventions. We're in the background, ready to come in and help when things don't go to plan or when certain health plans need to be implemented. So when I say the school wouldn't exist, it wouldn't exist in the way it does now, because it wouldn't be enabled to support the children as holistically as what it does now.
The school would exist, but it wouldn't have the children that are currently in it.
No.
Essentially.
They wouldn't be attending full time.
No.
Coming in on transport, coming to school all day, going home on the bus, and then, because you just wouldn't have the skills here. The skills wouldn't exist, and the confidence wouldn't be there in the staff that we've trained and supported to enable them to meet the needs of the children. And the thing is, a lot of the staff that we have they've come in new to this, and you see a child who's got a tube maybe in their throat or in their tummy, and you see syringes and gloves, and you see boxes, and you see oxygen cylinders and things. It can be very, very, very scary. It is normalised at Langside because that's what we do.
Yeah, definitely. It's overwhelming for a new starter, but actually, if you can get past that, the rewards and the benefits.
It's seeing the child first.
Yeah.
And that's why I love working with children, because children are children regardless of their diagnosis, prognosis, list of needs. They're kids first, and that's what we focus on.
Perfect.
So every episode, we pull a note from our happy jar. So, Michelle, do you want to take your note?
I do. So I have: a child wouldn't go on the pirate ship at Chessington, and they conquered her fears and came off the ride signing, "Tell Mummy." Oh, Claire, this is obviously, you know more about this than I would.
Yeah, and actually this was, again, another one where I was there back in the days when I used to be out and about a bit more. So we took a group of young people to Chessington in school holidays, and this young lady in question didn't really want to go on many rides. I think she was quite scared. And then we got to the pirate ship, and she looked at it, and I could see she was like really processing. And I was thinking, is this gonna be the one? And the group decided to go and queue up to get on the ride, and she went and joined them. And I thought, oh no, like, how's this gonna go? And on the ride, she was having a great time. The member of staff that was with her was supporting her, like, put your hands in the air and like shout. And it was really lovely to watch. But then she came off the ride, and she come running up to me. She was like tapping me on the shoulder, and she was signing, "Mummy, mummy, mummy." And I was like, "What you want to tell Mummy?" And she was like, "Yes, yes, yes." So yeah, she was obviously so proud of herself for achieving that, which in turn I think then makes me feel really proud, because I think, wow, we've done that.
We've been able to
give her the opportunity to achieve that. And so I think, again, back to that word privileged, how lucky are we that we were able to do that for her?
Did you manage to get her off the ride the rest of the day?
I think she did a few more after that, but we didn't go back on the pirate ship. I don't really do many of the rides. Okay, shall I take my note?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I have a gentleman returning to his role once again as stage manager for Grooves on the Green, making sure that all the bands get on stage on time, and he loves to run a tight ship. So I think I know who this is, but let's hear more about it.
So every year this gentleman will sign up, not just for Grooves on the Green. I think he's there for everything we ever need. He definitely likes to run a very tight ship. I think that it was the tightest ship this year, to be fair. So Grooves on the Green is like, for anyone not local, is a little festival. and they go every year with bands and they support diverse abilities. And yeah, he is definitely by the stage making sure, and they have to have a good excuse if they're not there on time as well. But not only that, I know that some of the staff went this year, and they were even getting their orders as well.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. He is, if you're under his watch, you have to do what he says. So,
Amazing.
I love it.
And what a great opportunity again for him, because, you know, we don't get to go backstage
No,
and boss bands about. So.
Yeah. And he's one, but actually quite a few of the people we support like to get involved in that event in particular. And I think, like, for me, when you are donating to a charity, how nice to hear from the people, actually, this is what it makes to me.
Yeah. And to see those people and think, my £1, £2, whatever, you know, whatever you've spent is actually going to these people. And as you say, Grooves on the Green has supported us for many, many years. We've got a great relationship with them, and we really rely on their generosity of,
We do.
Of donating the funds to diverse abilities.
As we do with a lot of
Yeah.
other people, we have to say thank you
absolutely.
to. So every episode, Amy and Holly, we have a myth, and we like to bust that myth, and we've been pretty successful so far.
We have, although I have a feeling today that we're not going to have as much to say as they are. So it might be over to them.
So our myth for this episode is nursing care in services is covered by funding.
Absolutely not. So and this goes not just for nursing, but for the whole health team. We are not funded by the NHS. We are not funded by school. We're not funded by the local authority. We are fundraised every single year. Every single year.
The nurses,
physiotherapists, speech and language therapists, OTs. We are all of the health professionals are charity fundraised. This school is unique and does the fantastic job it does because of the health professionals supporting education. If we didn't have the health professionals, the education wouldn't be able to exist in the amazing way it does.
I'm really shocked because I've been around for a long time, and I knew that maybe not all of it was funded, but I assumed some of it was. So you guys are doing an amazing job for the children in the local area, or the families in the local area, to enable them to come to school, but you get zero funding.
That makes me a little angry, if I'm honest, as well. Because I
every
think
child surely has a right to education.
Exactly. Every child has a right. And why isn't there an element? Okay, I kind of expected you to say we have to top up, but I didn't expect for it to be not funded at all.
The charity have to budget every single year to make sure that they've got enough to keep the health staff across the whole organisation employed.
And I guess that's why it's really important to have our campaign of Fund a Nurse running.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you, Holly? You're not funded by any NHS, local authority?
No, exactly like Amy said, we receive no funding from any government body or NHS for any of the healthcare provided at the Beehive, so the HCAs and myself as the nurse there.
Wow.
It's just me. It again is like, and if we weren't here, or if diverse abilities weren't here,
or taking that really brave leap of faith to say, we will fundraise for these people because it is what is needed.
Yeah, but then almost that's another closed door for adults and for children. And I just think, in this day and age, we're all about educating and, enlightening people, but yet there's no funding out there to help
us to be able to do that.
Help us to do that.
Yeah. And we do support the NHS. We have a very good relationship with our consultant, and we actually facilitate clinics at the school to enable the students to have a less disruptive schooling. So they can pop out of class, see the doctor, see the dietitian, whoever it is who's coming to school to see them, wheelchair clinic, and then they go back to their lesson. And
which is far less disruptive than having to get in a car,
whole
go to-
day.
yeah.
And when some of the students go up to Southampton, they're out of school for a whole day, because that's by the time you've, like you say, you've got in the car. And if you struggle with transitions, and if you struggle with feeds and meds at certain times, it's a really big thing. So we do try and support the NHS and some of the other services as much as we can.
That's really important, isn't it? To do that joint working. I know from
Absolutely.
working at Lily's place, I know we've had to do so much joint working with the local community nursing team and things to enable the children to be able to come for a holiday or a stay or what have you. So it is really important that joint working is happening. And
absolutely.
It's just such a shame that there's no
the resources are so
cross-funding.
stretched.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely, because those services and those resources are also stretched themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think yet again
Yep.
we've busted another myth.
We have indeed.
So Hollie and Amy, thank you so much for taking the time out of your really busy schedules to join us today. I think it was really great to have you come along.
For me, it's been really interesting, and just how important your roles are within diverse abilities as a whole. And I would just like to remind the listeners of our Fund a Nurse campaign and just how important this campaign is.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Reasons to Care, the podcast from Diverse Abilities, Dorset's disability charity, all about what it means to work in care.
We'll be back again with you soon, so make sure you subscribe for updates. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow Diverse Abilities on social media. Check out our vacancies at diverseabilities.org.uk/careers. And we'd love it if you could leave a review if you've enjoyed this episode. Bye.
Bye.